I'm Ben McPherson, driving number 46 McPherson Motorsports Bone Stock Chevy Cavalier, racing at Sunset Speedway, and this is ONTrack Weekly.
Hello everybody, good evening. Cam K here with you on GeForce TV for ONTrack Weekly. In the middle of the Steelers and Bills, unfortunately, or I guess we're not in the middle anymore, but some very important stuff going on outside of racing at the moment for those Bills and Steelers fans. So we're still doing okay, Bills fans. We're still doing okay. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Ben McPherson, for your great intro for tonight's episode here on GeForce TV. It is our Sunset Speedway dedicated episode. We'll go through. We'll talk about some of the new stuff some of the news from today and maybe the last week or so. Some more schedules came out, and we'll take a look at that. We're going to take a look at some stuff that some racers are putting together and some other podcasts that have guests within our racing scene that are coming up on that. But I just want to say thank you for tuning in. Where it is a cold Monday evening here. I'm in Scarborough, Ontario, and definitely want to hear from you as to where you're watching from. But let's get to our news. First off, let's get a look at some of the announcements the biggest announcement really made today, which was the 2024 Quick Superstock Series. And here we are, the 2024 Quick Superstock Series announcement. This is great news that we're going to have them back. And not only that, there's a little bit of a change this year that I don't know how you could take it other than it's a positive move. The United Racing Series I guess it just says the United Series is pleased to announce the Quick Superstock Series will return for a third season and will once again race in conjunction with the APC late models in 2024. As was the case before the series as was the case before, this series is in collaboration with 4 tracks and officiated by URS officials. And after meeting with the 4 participating tracks, Peterborough, Flamborough, Sunset, and Delaware, it was decided as a group to continue with the popular series that has created some of the best races in Ontario, but with a few tweaks. In the past, a driver would need to be registered and participate in 60% of their home tracks to be eligible for Quick Series points and the points fund at the end of the season. But for 2024, a driver needs to be a registered home track driver and participate in at least 6 races at any of the participating tracks, not just one in particular. The participating tracks have also, this is key here, the participating tracks have also agreed to increase the purse, specifically the bottom portion. Great news. Great news. 2024 purse starts at $1,000, $700, $500, $400, $350, $300, $275, $250, and then it heads to $200 for the rest of the field. So the 2024 schedule: Peterborough on June 15th, Delaware on June 28th, July 13th at Flamborough, August 10th at Sunset, and September 6th at Delaware. So a great schedule, a great series. already had some names that have talked about coming back to the series, which is great. Can't wait to see it. This was one of the series that put on some amazing races last year. First off, that race, there was a couple of races all season long between Lane Zardo and Carson Nagy, but then you add Sean Chenoweth in there, and they had one hell of a season. So definitely a very, very positive swing here for the Quick Wick Superstocks. Love it. Can't wait to see who comes back, who joins. I'm digging this, definitely. So we'll start. That was our first bit of news. We'll also go to what's some podcasts that you can tune into. How about the Feeney Call this week with Brandon Feeney, former racer out of Peterborough Speedway. He has Jennifer Hatch that is going to be on his podcast this week. So if you have a question, make sure you head over to the Feeney Call on social media. Mainly, I think it's here on Facebook, but you can also check out his latest episode, which I guess he hasn't posted here, but it's the newest one here with J.R. Fitzpatrick, two-time APC late model champion, of course, the final Cast Car Series champion. Our friends at Ray Morneau Racing are hosting their 4th annual Cooler Full of Booze draw. This helps their racing program. They've got tickets available to win. The draw being held on February 9th, the draw being held on February 10th. They're selling tickets until the 9th. If you'd like an opportunity, you've got tickets, 1 for $5, 3 for $10. Emails are available to send your transfers, or you can reach out to Ray, Dana, Randy, or Dan Monahan on social media. Of course, you can win yourself a big old cooler full of booze, courtesy of Ray Morneau Racing. Help their program for 2024. This was the big news, though. This is why we're dedicating the episode to Sunset Speedway, among other reasons. But Sunset Speedway released their 2024 schedule, and man, is it ever a banger. There is lots of great stuff here. Not only is there some special highlights, but there's also a really, really nice thing that they've done, which is adjust start times for 2024. Now, whether people like it or not, I think it's nice to even just try, and it's not the entire season. So if you can't make a lot of events at the beginning of the season, maybe you can make a lot more at the end of the season. I saw a couple people, making comments about, I can't make it because of the timing, or it's a 3-hour difference. Racing was starting at 6 o'clock, so now we're going to bump it up to 3. I love this idea. If you have a great day of racing, nice and clean, you can be out of there and still have a good chance of getting home and doing more stuff, and that helps everybody out at the racetrack. Tyler, to answer your question about what happened in the NASCAR Canada Series going to Sunset Speedway, obviously the decision was made either between Sunset or between NASCAR Canada not to go. We're not privy to those conversations. That's just what's happened, and you know what? It happens. Tracks beyond schedules, I believe Sunset was on the schedule previously. It had come off of it for a bit, then it came back on the schedule. That's part of it. They're going to start off strong with the Steve Slaughter Classic. I love this. Start the season off with the Pro Late Model 100. And not only that, we tend to see a lot of good competition come in as a precursor to the season opener for the APC United Late Model Series. They tend to come in, do the first couple of races at Sunset Speedway as well. So I love this. I love this great start. They don't get their season opener until Spring Velocity on the 18th. So you've got opportunities for 2 races. The Pro Late 100 is a perfect start because you're prepping yourself for the 200 laps that you're going to have to do when you do make your season debut for Spring Velocity. So I would expect you to see some APC series names. When we go over the point standings for the Pro Lates, you will be able to see that there were quite a bit of APC regulars that did come and participate at Sunset Speedway last year previous to the APC events. So I would expect that we'll see some of those again. Danny Benedict, who confirmed that he's not going to do full-time in the APC series, but did say he will do Sunset and some special events at Sunset throughout the year. I would expect that he'd be there for the Steve Slaughter Classic as one of those events. Superstocks, Hot Rods, Mini Stocks, and Junior Late Models to start off their season opener on May 4th, 3 o'clock start. Really nice that they've renamed a lot of weeks, given some sort of a theme. You've got your Spring Velocity weekend. Big news, because you've got and this was really nice. Billy Zardo pointed this out. It's the Big Z's birthday on May 19th, and they're going to do twin 46s Oscar Hot Rods versus Sunset Hot Rods. Love this idea. Great way of giving some sort of special prize, I guess, in a way, that you're not just the winner of the Big Z Memorial Twin 46s, but you're also beating out the regulars at Sunset Speedway, or you beat out the regulars in the Oscar Hot Rod Series. One of the things I think that is great is bringing series together for friendly competitions like this. And I'm really excited to see who's full-time back at Sunset Speedway in the Hot Rods, but also who's back in Oscar as well. Great start to the season. You got the Slaughter Classic, you got At Our Best, and then you got Spring Velocity to start the season. But no, they're not going to start with just those 3 weekends. They're going to finish it up with May 25th, one of the big premier events, and a memorial that it's sad that we have to have a memorial, because it's another memorial added to the schedule for a great racer. But Frank Davey, if you don't know, passed away and last season, which was a really big loss for the racing community. Frank Davey was one of the first names that I actually learned for Ontario racing, and I'm quite new still to the Ontario racing scene. I was mostly just a NASCAR enthusiast previous, but this is great. The Flying Frank 49 in memory of Frank Davey, a Superstock Invitational, and I don't think there's a Superstock driver in Ontario that should miss this event. Now, I hope that there's no conflicts in terms of other schedules, but you know that you're going to have Superstocks coming from all over. I would hope that you'll see from Delaware Speedway, because they race on the Friday nights, them come out and join us for the Flying Frank 49. A great thing for Sunset Speedway to start. Obviously we don't ever want to lose anybody, but it shows the type of person that Frank Davey was, that we're going to put this amazing event together here at Sunset Speedway this year. And not only that, you've got some other, you got Pro Lates coming in as well, and you got the Mini Stocks, Bone Stocks, but then also the first ever Power Wheels drags, which, yes, is exactly as it sounds. You're going to take those Power Wheels around Sunset Speedway. Not sure what the track size is going to be, if it's going to be the full distance, but this is exciting, and I absolutely love this. And, obviously I wish Frank was still racing. I wish Frank was still out there. But this is a nice tribute, and I applaud Sunset Speedway for doing this. It is very classy. July brings us 6 p.m. starts, and I just realized that for some reason we jumped from June to July here, but let's go to June. Showdown in Simcoe County. Ontario Outlaws, $500 to win. Mini Stock Invitational. You know I'm all about the Mini Stocks, the Struck Energy Systems Mini Stocks out at Sunset Speedway. $500 to win on June 1st. Gotta love it. Second to none following week. Got your King of the Hill coming back. And then, of course, a race that I'm obviously pumped for, the Ontario Sportsman Series. No NASCAR Canada Series at Sunset Speedway this year. However, we will have the Ontario Sportsman Series. I know we're trying to build that series up as best as we can. Last year, our fall race, we went and we did 100 laps, green to checkered, no caution. Corey McAllister, he laid a butt whooping on the field. But 3 p.m. starts also military night, which is great. Last year there was, I believe it was either discounted or free. I believe it was free entry for members of the Canadian military. So definitely make sure you get out there. And then fan appreciation, the first fan appreciation of the season on June 22nd. Canada Day cash-in. Again, I love the names that you're bringing out. Ontario Outlaws, Super Late Model Series, once again, Mini Stocks, Super Stocks. Junior Late Models and Power Drags are back once again. Now, one of the things we want to make sure that we mention here is the Junior Late Models have a really big championship this year. Not just the weekly points, but you have what's known as the Elmer's Lighting Supply Junior Late Model Big 3 Series. And the Big 3 Series is going to be three big events. Bring in a whole bunch of Junior Late Model drivers from across Ontario as well. Make a big deal here. And the Fight Under the Lights Pro Late Models for another 50 lapper. Speed is forever. You guys, again, so just some basic racing. But you'll see that's when we start the 6 o'clock in July. We start to take that change there. We go to 6 o'clock start times. $1,000 to win Bone Stock Invitationals on July 13th. We also welcome the Ontario Legends. But it's also Ennisville Rib Fest. So if you're not going to come for racing, then come for the ribs. Kids' bike races are also going to take place on that night. And then, of course, this is what I'm really excited about this year. And I won't even be able to make it because I'm working for a racing series, working for OSS that night in their racing at Peterborough. But NTN Bearings presents the second annual Junior Handley Classic. Last year, Dale Shaw got the win in the number 72 in what was a fantastic battle with Danny Benedict, and of course Sam Shaw finishing in third place, Billy Zardo in fourth. $12,000 to win, courtesy of NTN Bearings. 172 laps, a long race. But what I love about this is that you've got the Junior Late Model Series, round number 2 of their 3-race series. And they're going to be on the big race, the big show before the late model series, before the late models come out and play. And I think last year it kind of stank because we did get the rain. But the Handley Classic is something that I think is going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And $12,000 to win is good incentive for people to come out and race. All right. And then we head to August. Monster Trucks back at Sunset Speedway on August 3rd and August 4th. And you've got the Scorcher for the APC. Now, this is your APC and your Quick Wick Super Stock Series. Let's throw in the mini stocks with them as well. A great card on August 10th. Fan Appreciation Night. We got another Fan Appreciation Night coming August 17th. August 24th, your hot rod battle between Oscar and Sunset once again. Then you've got the Modified Tour, the Legends Series, Bone Stocks, and King of the Hill. August 31st, our Back to School Bash, the Ontario Super Late Model Series, Bone Stocks, Junior Late Models, the Modifieds, and Power Wheel Drags once again. And how about this? Let's end the season strong, just as well as we started. You've got the second Alan Lankin Memorial, the 73 Mini Stock Lap Invitational, Super Stocks Pro Lates. That's on the Sunday, September 1st. You've got the inaugural Rinamato Classic Car Show and Swap Meet on Saturday, September 7th. Of course, that's in place of racing that night. You've got Drift Event that's taking place, a car show and shine, swap meet, corn roast, and a food truck festival. How about that? Great stuff. And then we get to the Night of Champions, where your champions will be crowned. And then we get Fall Velocity, stacked Fall Velocity, Ontario Sportsman Series. They bring their championship to a close. Modifieds, first timers, and the ringer on that. That's just the Friday night. Then you have the Ontario Outlaw Super Late Model Series, the Outlaw Midgets, the Tamio Memorial. Of course, that's a Hot Rod 50. Second annual New School 20 for the Junior Late Model Series. That should be round 3, I believe it says. It says round 1 there. But and then to wrap the season up on September 22nd, the Simcoe County Shootout 100 for your Pro Late Models, Mini Stocks, Bone Stocks. Those are invitationals. Ontario Legend Series, and then a Super Stock 50 to end the season. Sunset Speedway, man, what a schedule. Now, we can't just talk about the schedule here without talking about what we saw last year. Now, it's very important that we do recognize the racers that came and were a part of Sunset Speedway last year. What's great about all this information is that it was found via their website. And Sunset Speedway is very, very good on their social media channels on Facebook. Make sure you follow them. Instagram, Twitter, they're very, very active on Twitter. They actually make announcements on Twitter too. So make sure you check those out, because sometimes the information that's on their Twitter account you don't see on their Facebook account. They're very, very good at giving hints. So definitely Brian and Sandra Todish, Brendan Doherty, Courtney Wright, Ben Dennis. Definitely give a call to Spencer Lewis as well. The team there at Sunset Speedway is definitely doing a great job at building their season, building their schedule up again. And I cannot wait to get back there. Sunset is one of my favorite racetracks. The racers are absolutely amazing. So supportive, so friendly. It is such a great environment. And, yeah, sure. As a racing fan, I am sad that the NASCAR Canada Series is not there. But at the same time, I am really, really excited that they've got such great events put together. And events that are highlighting. And that's, I think, the big thing, that they're highlighting every division in their series. Now, the only one I think that they're maybe not sure of yet, and that's why it's not indicated as such as to the race distances, is the modified division. If you notice in a couple of these posts here where they do have the modifieds, like you see my cursor right here, there is no distance for the laps. So I would expect that maybe they're just not sure how long the races are going to be yet for the modifieds. And last year was really tough, and we'll go and we'll showcase how many racers they did have in the modified division, but you never know. Hopefully there's going to be changes based off of what was posted by, I believe it was I believe it was posted on our live show on SNS Live on Friday. Brendan Doherty did say that they're working to ensure there's no conflicts so that you can get racers from the Oscar Modifieds and bring them into the Sunset Weekly division. Brilliant decision. If you can't get them work together, we've talked about this on this show before, the more divisive we are, then it kind of makes stuff a lot harder to fathom, right? But now all of a sudden you work together and you can have big races, you can have big car counts, you can have huge attendance figures. I love everything about this schedule. As Billy Zardo, a competitor out at Sunset Speedway, does state, Todish is taking the NASCAR money and giving it to the weekly stuff instead. Brilliant idea. If NASCAR is not going to come back this year, or if Sunset's not going to have NASCAR back, investing it in the weekly divisions is the biggest thank you to the racers. And I absolutely love this. I love the schedule. I love that there's a ton of features for each division. Obviously I would love to be at every weekend, but we're going to try and head to some other racetracks this year. Obviously with the Ontario Sportsman Series, Flamborough, Delaware, and Peterborough are on that side of hopefully trying to get to. Full Throttle is and Sauble are a little bit harder for myself to get out to, but same with Grand Bend. But if we can make some of those events, great. But I am so impressed with this schedule. We'll talk about other weekly schedules. Full Throttle has their schedule. Sauble has their schedule out. Delaware has their schedule. So we'll talk about those in upcoming episodes when we dedicate the episode to that track and their champions. And we'll talk about kind of how things went. Now, I was going to pull the direct pages from Sunset Speedway to showcase the point standings. However, there are some grammatical errors, which happens with Race Monitor. It is a well-known issue, I believe, with Race Monitor. So I put all these, I retyped basically all the point standings out here so that we can go through and give the appropriate, have the right spelling of drivers' names, at least the best that I could. I'm hoping that I got this right, because everybody needs to have their name spelled right. I mean, I look back to seeing drivers that win races and on like award banquets and their names are spelled incorrectly, and that sucks, and we don't want that to happen. But I know it's a matter of race monitor and having to, I think you have to like retype it each time, and you just don't have the time at racetracks a lot of the time to do that. So but let's take a look at what Sunset had last year. This is really fun to do, is to get to go through and see the divisions. So put this document together. Let me just move it over a little bit. And I don't know how good the view is going to be, but we'll give it a shot here. So Sunset Speedway, of course, their divisions from last year, their point standings are all available on their website. And while I'd love to say that every track is like this, they're not. Not every track has everything laid out like this. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be able to get it for every other track. But let's take a look at the GD Coates Superstore, and I want to just thank GD Coates, of course, for partnering with Sunset Speedway once again last year for their Pro Late division. And Gord the Smoke Shepherd, and I have to thank Brendan Doherty, because without him actually announcing the nicknames of drivers, there's no way I would know that his nickname was the Smoke. It's a great nickname. Gord the Smoke Shepherd winning the Pro Late Championship last year over Dwayne Baker. It was a pretty close championship too. The bully Dwayne Baker, who I've known the name Dwayne Baker for years, even before I even followed the Ontario racing scene. I would love to say that it was years ago that maybe he ran out of Mossport or Peterborough. I could be wrong by that, but I do remember him and John Baker Jr. always being featured in, I want to say it was Inside Track magazine. And for whatever reason, because I attended those tracks the most, that's why I guess why I think that they raced there. Dwayne Baker, of course, he's timeless. And I love seeing that he and Gord Shepherd had a great battle. Jordan House was in the battle for a lot of the season as well. And then Dustin Momberquette. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Dustin had a limited late as well that he was using this year. So Dustin finishing fourth. I think Dustin Momberquette is one of the very, very, very underrated and future competitors in the late model scene. Definitely, what a great racer. But not only him, but I think Samantha Shaw as well. Now, Samantha Shaw did something absolutely amazing last year. And I've talked with a lot of other people about the Hanley Classic, and there's a lot of people that said if that race went a little bit longer, that Samantha Shaw was going to win it. And I based off of the replay, yeah, it definitely, I was listening to it on TrackTune. Thank you, Brendan. And Brendan was just, he's telling the call, he's making the call, and you could hear the excitement in his voice because you could hear that Samantha was coming, and Sam was like, she was closing in on Danny Benedict and Dale Shaw. And I'm a Dale Shaw fan, and I'm a Samantha Shaw fan, but to hear her coming through the field, I'm just like, how cool would that be if Sam Shaw won the first Hanley Classic? I'm excited for this, man. I want to see this race again next year. Then you got veterans in Paul Maltese and Al Inglis, 6th and 7th, and Billy Zardo. Now, Billy had a really, really bad hit early in the season. If you go and look at their social media for, especially I believe on Twitter, it was, you couldn't even tell there was a car left. I believe it was contact with another car and sent him into the turn 4 wall, and it just shredded the whole right side off of his late model. And it sucks. It sucks seeing somebody get tore up that bad at a racetrack. And Brendan Doherty, of course, who's my favorite race announcer in Ontario, but also he is the race announcer at Sunset Speedway. He does say here that Gord was a Barrie guy forever, and ran Delaware for a bit as well. I was curious more about a Dwayne Baker, if he ran Peterborough or Mossport. That's what I'd be very curious, if he was always a Sunset guy. But he's a name that I always heard. And yes, Tyler, you did see him. He was not just at CTMP. He did do a couple more races way back, I believe, where he drove the number 9 car. But Norm Stoddard, of course, you saw him in the 09 car, all the lightning on that race car. Kendra Adams, who has already gone out and has got a new late model for 2024. Really excited to see Kendra back. Dwayne was Barry as well. Barry, okay. Ran All-Star for a few seasons. Yeah, so Kendra, I'm excited to see her back. She's one of those people actually that helped get me into podcasting. If you guys aren't familiar, Kendra was part of a Rogers TV program, but also she hosted Short Track, I believe it was Short Track Canada with Kendra Adams, and she was one of the first podcasts about racing, Canadian racing, that I ever heard. Jeff Hanley, he didn't make as many starts as I think maybe I was hoping to see him out there, but Travis Halliburton and Rick Spencer-Walt, I kind of think it's kind of funny that those two finish 12th and 13th in the points after their run-ins last year. Dan Archibald, Danny Benedict. Now, this is what I talked about last year, is that you had some APC regulars that were running in the Pro Late models as well. So you got Dan Archibald, but just under him, APC regular Danny Benedict, Josh Stoddy, out of Peterborough, Ryan Kimball, Dario Capriccio, Jonah Bell, and then, of course, your 2023 APC champion Kyle Steckley, Jake Sheridan. Also from the APC series last year, Corey Luciano, Tyler DiVincenzo. Then you have your Hanley Classic winner in Dale Shaw, Jake Gilbert, Blair Wickett out of the APC series, Joe Lawrence out of the APC series, J.R. Fitzpatrick, Trayton Lapsevich, Andrew Gressel out of Flamborough, Rick Burbridge, Glenn Stiers, and Colton Everingham. Now, unfortunately, I do believe Colton has sold that late model or raffled it. So unfortunately, I don't believe he'll be back in those late models, but there's a couple of names that I think we will see back here for sure. Jordan House, Sunset Speedway on Twitter, did state that he would be back. I think Dustin Marquette, Sam Shaw, Paul Maltese, for sure. Kendra Adams with buying a new late model or winning. I don't know what she did, if she just picked it up, but she's got a new late model, so we'll just say that Kendra should be back. Rick Spencer-Walt posting on social media that maybe it's time to get the Pro Late back out, so we'll see what he does. And then, of course, Danny Benedict has already said APC for Sunset and maybe some of the specials, so I would expect you'd see him back for the Hanley and the Slaughter. Jonah Bell always runs a couple of races each year, so was Norm Stoddard. Billy Zardo is more of a question mark. Not sure what he's going to do this year. But I, for one, love seeing Zardo at the racetrack. So it's really exciting. So that's more or less what we saw. Gord Shepard, Gord the Smoke, winning the championship in the Pro Late division last year. Next, we had to the Seat and Structures modified division. Andy Camrath was, well, he was undefeated. And Andy Camrath did announce, though, that he is going to end his, at least for right now, full-time competition. He was going to part doing that. He's going to help out Ryland Camrath, the future of the Camrath clan, joining Carter and Cole on track. TJ Edwards, Wally Wilson comes back and he finishes third in the championship. Rick Spencer-Walt in the number 99. Herb Walters, Sean Murray, Chad Strawn, and Drew Styler. Those are your 8 competitors that took to the track in the modified divisions. Now, obviously, that's not what we'd probably want, but there's going to be some changes in this division, obviously, because Andy Camrath is stepping away full-time. So who's going to be back? I mean, we know right now Wally Wilson, he's already pretty much confirmed that he's back, but Herb Walters did sell his modified, or at least exchange his modified with Brandon Feeney. So there's a modified there. I'm not sure if that's going to run. Sean Murray, Chad Strawn typically runs out of Peterborough, so we'll see what happens with him. Rick Spencer-Walt, he's kind of an open book. We really don't know what's going to happen with him next year as well. So I'm hoping, though, that with Brendan's comment about them working on not having any conflicts, that can only benefit the Seton Structures Modified. So thank you, Seton Structures, for partnering with the Modified division. A great car. I love the Modifieds. Obviously, I'd love to see, I mean, if we could get 8 to 10 each week, that's great. I think anything above that is a little bit more generous. It gets tough, though. I mean, obviously, it gets tough if you've got 4 or 5 Modifieds racing. That makes it a little bit tougher, but I think that they're making the moves here to improve the division, and that's all you can ask out of a track and its people. That's all you can ask, is that they see a problem and they're going to try and fix it or try to improve it. It's really up to the racers whether they decide to come out and race or not, right? So whatever they can do to fix it, I'm sure that they're going to do. Hopefully there will be a division this year. Hopefully they'll have a bunch of registrations pile in. I can't wait to start seeing, because Sunset's really good about that, is that they start posting when people are registered. And so I can't wait to see people confirming that they're going to be back. As we continue on the 2023 St. Onge Superstock division, and I'm really, really excited about this as well. I know I can say I'm excited about everything because it's racing, right? But the St. Onge Superstocks as a whole, for me, are one of the best racing series across Ontario. Not just after what we saw at Delaware Speedway and the Quick Wick Superstock Series, but even this division here. Corey McAllister and Johnny Morrison could not get far apart from each other the entire year. And this is actually, I think, a couple of years now that they've been like that. So you have those two. Corey McAllister ekes out the championship. Yeah, for sure. Great battle with him and Johnny Morrison. But now, Corey McAllister has sold that car. He's won the championship. He's sold that car. I believe that car is in the hands of somebody very, very, very capable of winning. So now all of a sudden, is Johnny Morrison finally going to get that championship? We'll have to see if he can beat out some of the other names in this series. Nick Tooley last year finishing in 3rd place. I'm not sure what's going on with Nick for next year. They've had the cars out there, but I believe he's trying to sell his super stock. So that it is available, and it's a 3rd place in the championship car. But Nick Tooley also got his. I remember hearing Brendan Doherty's call for that. Nick Tooley getting his first Superstock win. That was awesome to hear. What a great call too. Colton Everingham. Now this number 4 position here. Colton Everingham. This is something that I'm really curious to see how he does this year. So Colton's car last year, if you're not familiar, got the opportunity, thanks to Jeff Drimmey, to drive the 48 Superstock. It wasn't a foregone conclusion that he would make the full season, that he would do the Quick Wick Championship, but he did. And Colton had a couple heat wins, and when it come to colors, that car did not race because that car went to somebody else. So the big question mark is what's going to happen with Colton Everingham. Well, Colton Everingham has got his car back, the car that he did win the championship with previously, that he won a championship with previously, and that is a great sign because that means Colton Everingham is here to race. Not that he isn't, but I'm excited to see how he does this year. But you've also got some other names in this division, Connor Maltese and Cole Burrows, 2 young fellows that know how to race. Cole Burrows very much impressed me last year. I think he's somebody else we have to watch. Matt McGrath, Gord Shepard, that 30 car, Todd Davenport, I believe that car was for sale as well. Not sure if it is sold, if they're going to run. Bailey Jacobs, he'd made a couple of races last year. Dan Archibald, Dwayne Baker. I was so lucky. I've been waiting to see the Bully win a race, and I finally got to see it last year. Oh, so awesome. Brendan McFerrin, he's always good. I'd love to see Brendan do more than just the Quick Wicks. He does do a couple of them, as you see here. We do have names that do race the Quick Wick series, that did race a couple of times outside of the Quick Wick series, including Sean Chenoweth, Garrett Tiemersma, Carson Nagy, Paul Pepper, Caden Lapsovich returned, Roy Wilkie, and Jason Parker. Again, a great division, but it's going to go through a little bit of a change. Your champion is, as far as I know, and again, I could be wrong here, but as far as I know, Corey McAllister is not returning to this championship. So, all of a sudden, what happens? And do we get anybody from other racetracks that switch for 2024, that they come to run the St. Onge Superstocks? Thank you, St. Onge, for supporting the St. Onge Superstock division in 2023. So we've gone through our championships so far. We're going to continue on with the Luda Hot Rods, one of my favorite names in the divisions. The Let Us Drive You Home Hot Rod division. Stompin' Tom Walters winning the championship. It was down to the wire between him and Amanda Balson, and Amanda comes just short, finishing in second place. Herb, I love it. Again, Brendan's great with the nicknames, because otherwise I would not know these guys' nicknames. The cash check, the check casher. I knew I was gonna mess it up. The check casher, Herb Walters. Jamie Cairns, beautiful race car, that number 36. Thomas Dunn, Luke Janak, Keenan Belzile, Matt Spry, Tyler Hahn, and Rob Bromley. And Tyler Hahn was a big part of that championship for the most part. He ran a large majority of the season before he made commitments to the Oscar Hot Rods. Paul Jr., Dan Rothwell, Paul Sr., Johnny Gaunt, Dalen Martin, Donnie Beatty, Rick Spencer-Wald, who pretty much ran any division in Ontario last year, Rick Ecker, Jeremy McLean, and Billy Alderson. 20 late model or 20 hot rods last year. Hopefully we can see a bit more return. We know obviously Paul Sr. got a big damage to his car early, and which sucked, because Paul Sr. is always somebody to watch. He's a ton of fun. Also, you got Matt Spry running out there, Keenan Belzile, Luke Janak, Thomas Dunn. Again, this is a big question mark for this series this year. Is Stompin' Tom going to be back, win another championship? Is Herb Walters going to be back? Is Amanda Balson back? Is Jamie Cairns back? Is Thomas Dunn back? Right now, I don't know. I don't have a ton of information in terms of who people have confirmed, and that's fine. I mean, obviously, there's big question marks every year about divisions, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, Matt Spry and Keenan Belzile have mentioned possible returns. Not sure about everybody else right now, but the big question mark, of course, is what's going to happen between Oscar Hot Rods and the Luda Hot Rods. Hopefully, again, you have a field of 15 or so, maybe even 10 or so, that when the Oscar Hot Rods come in and you put them together, and who's the best of the best, you could have a real battle. And I think that would be really, really cool. But thank you for Let Us Drive You Home last year. They were out at the track so much. Thank you for supporting the Hot Rod division. One of the best series in all of racing, and I'm not talking just in Canada or Ontario. Hot Rod racing is some of the coolest things. It brings guys back to their old days, or the young days, when these cars were not racing, they were on the streets. So I'm hopeful that we could see a little bit more. I know Matt Spry is working on a Duster for this year, so that's really exciting. And Paul Jr. and Paul Sr. always got something clicking in their hot rods. So Dalen Martin, that car is up for sale. So I'm not sure what's going on with him, but maybe he's got a new car, maybe not. And then the big question mark is, what's Stompin' Tom going to do this offseason? Is he going to come back and try to defend this championship, or is he done for now? And I always say now, because the racer is never truly retired. I think they say that they're going to be, but you never know. Now we go to the future stars of Sunset Speedway, but not just Sunset, racing as a whole, and this is the Control Panel Systems Junior Late Model Division. Thank you, Control Panel Systems, for supporting the younger racers and our future in racing. Keegan Moat, who I didn't see lose a race. Between he and Jake Spencer-Walt, that's all I saw win last year in the Junior Late Model Division. Keegan Moat, number 52. My understanding, and I'm not 100% sure on this, is that he would be back this year to defend that championship. Morgan Moore finishing second. Good for her. I mean, she's made some solid improvements, and based off of confirmations and communication that I had with Colton Everingham, we had him on the Stickers and Scuffs podcast, and he talked about somebody that's improving, and he said that Morgan Moore is definitely improving out there. Wyatt Sprong, I saw him win a couple of times as well, actually. I don't know if it was at the track, though. I think I just in passing. Somebody I think that's going to have a really, really good future is Josh Davenport. Josh, to me, shows a lot. I saw him and I want to say it was him and Cole Camrath come through the back of the field at Sunset Speedway, and they looked very, very impressive. So Josh Davenport, obviously son of Todd Davenport, very excited to see what he does. And he had a crazy year. Josh Davenport flipped at Sauble Speedway, and it wasn't a little tiny flip. He flipped a lot. So Jake Spencer-Waltz in 5th. He didn't run the full season. Cole Camrath, he will start his season in 2024 before Sauble gets going. He and Carter Camrath will start up there. Ryland Camrath, Landon Struck. Lila Sigma, she typically runs out of Peterborough Speedway. Caleb McConnell, typically out of Full Throttle. Ronnie Mason, we expect will be back next year. Landon Sellers out of Peterborough. Del Freiberger out of Full Throttle. Grayson Masson out of Full Throttle. Avery Kirkpatrick out of Peterborough. Oliver Gibbons out of Sauble. Caden Beatty out of Peterborough. Chase Tolton out of Full Throttle. Chase Stevenson out of Peterborough. And Mia Ford, who made her debut last year. We expect to see Mia Ford back. I believe she's running out at Sunset this year. So exciting stuff. Lots of young racers. Hopefully we'll get to see a little bit more run at Sunset on a regular basis. There are some confirmed names. Morgan Moore returning. And then Cole and Carter Camrath running previous. I don't know if Carter's running actually previous to the season starting. But I believe it was confirmed on their Twitter. Ronnie Mason will be returning as well. So that's great news for the junior lates. Hopefully you get to build that division up a little bit, and Keegan Moak gets a really good battle on his hands for the championship. And hopefully we see a couple more names get up there and start their racing careers, but also get an opportunity to win. Now we get to the Bone Stock division. Unfortunately, based off of their website, it doesn't appear that the Bone Stocks have a title partner. So definitely, if you're looking to come in, support some really good grassroots racing, the Bone Stock division would be where it's at. Cash Ireton, which literally is like the best name for winning. Cash gets the win as the champion. Josh Berry, and no, not to be confused with NASCAR Cup Series driver Josh Berry, finishes second, 16 years old, I believe. I was told he and Ben McPherson, 15 last year. Josh Berry, second in the championship. Nicholas Reese in third. Jordan Owen in fourth. Andrea Lusk was pretty dominant throughout a good portion of the season with Brandon Steele. They were up there battling for the championship. It didn't end up winning the championship, though. Ben McPherson, look for him this year. He's got a lot of talent. Greg Duncan, Aiden Harper, and Steve Oakes. Jacob Booth, the guy who dominated the year previous, not expected, I don't believe, to return because I think he's going to do something else. Not saying that he's not racing, but I believe that he did make some starts last season in a super stock, and that might be the plan for 2024. Justice Jones in the 29, not sure that he'll be back after some stuff that happened last year. John Haynes, Jay Cutting, Carly Willman, and good confirmation that Calvin Reeser, former champion at Sunset Speedway, is back in 2024. Really excited. Actually got to chat with Calvin a little bit throughout this podcast, and seems like a great dude, and running the 49 for Frank Davey. And how can you not be happy about that? So it'd be great to see Calvin back and battling in this Bone Stock division. And we don't need any shenanigans next year. I think let's try and keep it as clean as possible. And, Calvin be in there and see what he could do if he can come out and win the championship. Jack and Jake Bird, Brandon Burnett, Curtis Burnett, Curtis Alladay, Brittany Reese, Chris Kahn, Sean Stewart. And then you got the guys that are coming around for some of the specials. Alex Stewart, he tours all over the place. Phil Givens, Nathan Hawkins, Brady Cox, Jason Melson, Chris Allard, Jack Dixon, Mark Allen, Will and Chris Foster, and Ken McCormick. Those are your 35 Bone Stock racers from last year. Now, there could have been a bit more, but, oh, I'm sorry, Calvin. Never won a championship, but both seasons I've run, I've been the bridesmaid. That's probably why I thought you would have been the champion. Bridesmaid no more, Calvin. It's happening next year. So, we go from the bone stocks to the Struck Energy Systems mini stocks. Now, obviously, everybody has their favorite division. This is mine. And I don't even know why. It just turned into being my favorite. There's a lot of support from the mini stock racers for our podcast, and just really, really supportive people, and great racing between them as well. I like seeing the cars that you could see on the street on the racetrack. I always think those are cool. So the bone stocks and the mini stocks always add to that. But Doug Butler, wow, what a season. Tyler C. Boyer also returning to the seat and did a great job with his comeback. And it was a very emotional comeback for him after an injury. And Cameron McGlashan, third in the championship. Former champion Jason D'Antimo finishing fourth. Jason, I feel like Jason was always really, really close last year. Just could never get there. Jacob Sutcliffe, of course, your winner at Spring Velocity in what was a crazy race. Peter Wakeling, unfortunately, every race that I saw Peter Wakeling in, he was involved in something and not of his own making every time, unfortunately. Eric Rainey in number 12, Mr. Consistency, always back each and every week. Chris Inglis, Madison Tynecamp, John Bird. Then you got Blaze Shaw, and that's somebody, if Blaze Shaw is able to run for the championship this year, he will be somebody I think that you'll have to watch. I don't pretend that I'm an expert in racing. I'm a fan first, and I get to happen to talk about racing. But Blaze Shaw, Wyatt Sutcliffe, those two names are guys that I think you got to watch in 2024. Both, from what I saw, have amazing potential. Not saying that other guys on this list don't, but those are just two names that I definitely think. Blaze, a couple of times, some of the moves that he would make out on the racetrack were very, very, whoa, like, oh my goodness, like, that's crazy. And Wyatt got up there, he led for a little bit, and was able to, and this is what I think that's important, is getting the lead off of the start and being able to run away a little bit. Now, he was able to do that and then made a mistake and lost that lead, but that's always something positive. And I know he's lowering the points because they did have some issues with the car and he wasn't able to make every event. Coleridge Fenimore, one of my favorite names in racing. Austin Janet in the 09, he's somebody else I think you got to watch as well. Definite potential there. Curtis Stewart, Chandler Boss Bob, Daytona Bob Fenimore, Doug Willman. Somebody else who I think you're going to see do very well, Ryder White. He's going to be 14, 15, I think, coming into next year. I'm not sure he'll be 15 by the race start, but he's somebody else you got to watch. Cole Ecker. Brian Penny, I don't believe will be back, though. I believe he sold that car. Bills won 31-17. All right. Charlie Smith, Johnny Peredzinski, and I'm really excited to see Johnny back. That was a tough season, ended by injury, and very tough injury at that. So Johnny, is really excited to get back to the racetrack in his number 4. Kyle Federley, Mike Robinson Jr., Jake Spencer-Walt. Can't count Jake out. He's going to be back this year, and got an opportunity to run a couple of races in his mini stock. I think give that, again, it's just these young kids coming in here. They got to get used to what a mini stock is comparative to a junior late model. Sean Taylor, what does the guy not win in mini stocks? He is one of the best ever. Randy Butler got out there in the ladies of the oval car. Robbie Sykes, Josh Bullen, Ryan Edwards-Kiss, Mike Thompson, Pat Farrow, Layla Walzer, Bob Deasy, and Will Foster. So we've made it through every division, and it's so exciting to be able to do this and be able to talk about these racers and showcase some of the racers. I also want to make sure that we highlight Daniel McPherson's photo of Ben McPherson, who is our driver athlete for this week. And of course, the amazing photographers, Debbie Jozardo, Kale Thompson at Thompson Photography, April Wilson at Wilson's Photography, and the ladies of the Oval for providing and for making these photos available on social media. It is is awesome to be able to showcase racers from all over. And we can definitely continue our conversation about Sunset Speedway in the coming weeks. We're going to try and go into other divisions. As long as they have their points out there, we're going to try and cover them. I know Full Throttle does. I know Delaware does. They do a great job, both of them, for posting those. But what I'm hoping is that we'll be able to do this every week, go through all of our champions, go through the point standings of the drivers that were out there, maybe talk about some that we think are coming back, some that are not. And then hopefully by the time we hit around Motorama, we'll have more confirmations on drivers that are for sure coming back. And then we start to build our rosters for 2024. That's what we're going to do on this show each and every week. We'll try and bring in some amazing racers from these racetracks once we finish our tour of racetracks. So we've got Delaware, Grand Bend, Peterborough, Full Throttle Speedway, Flamborough Speedway, and Sauble. I always, unfortunately, forget Sauble Speedway. I apologize. But, for those that have tuned in, I just want to say thank you. If you could give us a thumbs up as well, that always helps with the algorithm. Share the show. Try to get more people tuning in week in and week out. We want to try and build as much as possible our weekly racing programs. Try and get more people in. The NASCAR thing was great, but we want to try and build our lower divisions, our grassroots racing. Try to build off of what we can, because each one of these races that you see scrolling across the screen, they all bring themselves to the racetrack. They do what they can to win, and they have amazing partners that all deserve it. So I'm going to throw out again those partners from Sunset Speedway's division: Struck Energy Systems, the Control Panel Systems, Let Us Drive You Home, St. Auge Recreation, Seton Structures, and GD Coates Superstore Prolates at, or just the GD Coates Superstore out at Sunset Speedway. If you haven't already, make sure you go and check them out on their social media. Check out their website, sunsetspeedway.ca. They normally have a booth at Motorama. They also are celebrating their 2023 banquet this weekend at the Ferndale Banquet Hall. Their schedule has been released, so things are really, really looking up for Sunset Speedway in 2024. Of course, if you haven't already, just make sure you get out there, support NTN, Seton Structures, Caldecott Millwrights, Stewart's Equipment, McMaster Buick GMC, Epic Racewear, tons. They got Domino's there every week. So definitely go out there, support, and follow them on social media. Follow us on social media as well. Give us a like, subscribe to the channel. Week in and week out. We're going to be talking, I believe, Full Throttle next week. Actually, Nathan Detweiler there on the picture there, Mason Culver. Drivers that go out there and participate in those divisions, we'll put them up on the screen. We'll talk about them. We'll talk about what we know heading into 2024. I know they're making some changes as well. That's what you got to do, though, in racing is make some changes week in and week out. If you haven't already, of course, support everybody that we've talked to on this platform. Come on back tomorrow. Race Rivals Race Chat with Clinton Jeffrey and Adam Ross. They'll be here. And we'll be back for another episode of ONTrack Weekly with Kim K. I want to thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much. Share, give us a like, subscribe to GeForce TV. Catch you all next week here